All right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the August 25th regular council meeting. We had no closed session items, so I'll call the open session to order. You want to lead send the pledge? All right, can we get a roll call?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will note tonight that Councilmember Mendoza, Councilmember Petula, and Mayor Lohman are here tonight. Trinity Burris had an emergency she had to deal with, and David Ackerman let us know he's not going to be available tonight, so we do have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, can I get a motion to approve agenda order?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? All right. I'll move on to agency reports. Chief Estes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Looks like I'm on the agency. Okay, there we go. Thanks, Wes. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Brian Estes, County Fire Chief. I wanted to concentrate real briefly tonight on our finalization of our 60-day transition from the volunteer firefighters from the city of Colfax and the onboarding process into the integration of the Placer County Fire Department. So as you all know, on August 23rd, on Monday, was the end of our 60-day transition period that we were marked to complete from the beginning of this process. So I wanted to give you an update on where we're at with everything. So we as you know from the last time that I spoke with you, we built an incident action plan, which had control objectives, what we call the 204s, that broke down each objective that we had through personnel, training, safety, apparatus, equipment, et cetera, and using a combination of our valued volunteer firefighters with our career staff to make sure that we didn't miss any steps. I'll start out by saying that we completed most of our objectives. There's a few that are still ongoing, and primarily that's because of the activity we've seen in the last month, primarily right here outside the city limits of Colfax with the river fire. But I did want to go over some bullet points and some highlights. So first of all, on our personnel onboarding, we have completed all of the volunteer applications and submitted them. They're on file now with the county. So that roster is complete and on file, and the volunteer firefighters are now all on Placer County insurance and are officially members of the Placer County Fire Department. We're very proud of that and really proud to have them on board and welcoming them all on board, including our mayor here. We are currently working on building personnel and career development files for all of our volunteer firefighters, and that will be an ongoing process. And we're beta testing right now with Placer County a new electronic application process. And that's going to bring some efficiency to new volunteers who come on board. Once that is done with the beta test and live, we will transfer all the hard copies to the electronic process for our Colfax volunteers, as well as including the live scan process, the RPP, and physical clearance, so we make sure that we're taking really good care of all of our volunteer firefighters. In the training and safety realm, we've reviewed all our training certifications and licenses for our volunteers. They've all been validated, and all personnel meet the minimum requirements for their current positions, and that process has been completed. We are working with our Target Solutions, which is our online training and safety database. And basically, we're just moving the personnel names from the previous database, which was under City of Colfax, over to the county database. And then lastly, we're integrating Company 36 into our PCFD training calendar. We usually update that in October, build that in October of every year for the next following year. So that will be built for 2022, and Company 36 will be fully integrated into that training calendar, including not only multi-company drills and ongoing training, but making sure that all mandatory certifications, licensing standards, and career development for our volunteers and making sure that they have an opportunity for enhanced career training is complete. For uniforms and personal protective equipment, all the volunteers have been sized for their new county uniforms, and those have been ordered. The badges have been ordered, and all the ID badges and nameplates are delivered. We sized and fitted all of our volunteers for brand new structural and wildland personal protective equipment. That's all been ordered. In the meantime, we used the NFPA 1851 process, and our vendor, which is a certified vendor, to inspect all of the current Colfax City PPE, being that it was over 10 years old. In many cases, we had to make sure that it was certified by a third-party vendor. That's all been certified, inspected, and so all of our people are safe until we get the new PPE ordered and or delivered and issued to them. And then lastly, once we get that completed, and frankly, once we get a little bit of a break from fire season and get all our personnel back in quarters, we will be planning on a more formalized swearing in ceremony, badge pinning ceremony, and really a celebration of bringing the volunteers and the program integrated fully into the county fire department. On apparatus, we had our fleet manager and our county mechanic complete what we call our 90-day or our safety and compliance inspections on all the equipment. A comprehensive parts list was identified for our annual heavy maintenance that will occur. We've initiated and rolled all of the apparatus from Colfax into Placer County and into our preventative maintenance program. So it will be rolled right into all of our other equipment. All of the DMV paperwork and insurance has been transferred from the city of Colfax to Placer County for all the apparatus. And fueling protocols have now been transferred to Station 30 so that routine operations, all the apparatus here can be fueled right at Station 30. We've also ordered county fuel cards, so any out-of-unit assignments or when they're away from the station, they can fuel through like a Voyager type system. And lastly, we will be scheduling all the pieces of equipment here for annual maintenance at our Auburn County Fire Department shop, and our mechanics will be heavily engaged with that, including pump testing for all the fire engines. And lastly, our equipment inventory. We were able to get engine 37 fully inventoried and complete. And this is one of the areas where Sean and Roger and all the rest of the volunteers have been a real help to us in really identifying the inventory, the history of that inventory, some of the items that are association owned or purchased, et cetera. Engine 37 is complete. Unfortunately, the river fire broke, and so we weren't able to get the other pieces of apparatus complete, but we're working diligently on that. Our 2021 radio loads are almost complete. We're just waiting for the OES radio technicians to get back from the Dixie fire so we can complete those radio loads. Hose testing on all the equipment will occur during annual winter maintenance. And we're also inventorying all fixed assets so we can log them with the county in inventory. So fixed assets will go into that equipment replacement plan so they get onto a schedule for normal replacement instead of being deferred. CAD, our computer-aided dispatch system at a Grass Valley Emergency Command Center, has been adjusted for Company 36. We did have a few little hiccups, and I want to thank Sean, his historical knowledge of the response areas around here. He was right on it when we saw a little glitch in the system, not to be unexpected when we're switching a system over like that, but I feel confident that now we've got our response plans really dialed in for Company 36 and their response area. And then we're going to ensure that the Volunteer Firefighter Association is alive and well, and we're supporting that. I know that there was a great donation from one of the relief funds through the Volunteer Firefighters Association here, I believe last week. And so we want to continue to support that and make sure that everything's transparent and above board, and make sure that any property or anything that was purchased over the years, especially if it's historical and sentimental in nature, that we retain that. That's something that's really important to me. I believe we're bringing a real regionalized and efficient emergency services delivery system to the city of Colfax. But by no means do I want to forget about the history of our volunteer fire department. I want to make sure we retain that now and into the future. So if there's not any questions, that will pretty much be the end of our 60-day transition, and we'll continue to work on buttoning up a couple of those items that are outstanding. But really welcome on board our volunteers and look forward to a real healthy future with the county fire department. So,
Hey, Chief.
any questions?
You going to say anything about the fires?
Well, I just want to say thank you first. Thank you for your diligence and your people that are trained, Egan, et cetera, et cetera. Just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Marnie. And in answer to your question, Joe, yes, we actually have a formalized presentation that's scheduled for the next council meeting. We weren't able to get the document on the agenda for this one. And I don't see Sergeant Griffiths, but PCSO and PCFD will be doing a combined presentation at the next council meeting specific to the river fire. Chief Egan is a branch director over on the Caldor right now. And so we do have a large commitment of resources assigned to fires to the north and south of us. And I'm going to exit here and head up to our ICP at a fire that's currently burning in and around the city of Grass Valley that we have a lot of resources committed to. So it's busy, but we've got our station staffed and we're maintaining our constant coverage here in the county. So thank you.
Thanks. All right. Sally? Chamber of Commerce?
I'm short. Good evening, Mayor Lohman, City Council members. Thanks for having me here tonight. Fire is the big topic of today. Actually two, fire and COVID. I was on a county call today and 220 COVID patients are being treated in hospitals right now in Placer County. The wave is becoming pretty big. But the fires are really on our minds. I think all of us have friends or family that have been affected, neighbors. We took a vote of our chamber directors today, and the consensus is we're going to go ahead and postpone all of the events that we have planned through until railroad days, until the last of September. So we're going to postpone our mixers, our coffee and conversations, and our ribbon cuttings until that time. Our consensus has been that holding indoor events is difficult with the COVID surge. Holding outdoor events with the amount of smoke that's in the air is also rather prohibitive. So that's just what we're going to do. We're fully in support, and we have the time and the resources now to fully promote donation efforts for the fire survivors, including the 9/11 fundraiser that'll be here on Main Street that is being organized by the Green Machine, featuring musical groups and all kinds of things that hopefully will raise a lot of money. There are lots of places that you can donate. The top ones are, there's a collaboration effort between the Colfax Chamber of Commerce, the Auburn Chamber of Commerce, and Placer Community Foundation that has raised over $100,000 already that we have in our coffers. The reason it has to go through the Auburn Chamber is they have a tax designation that we do not have that allows them to do this kind of thing. So there are all kinds of fundraisers happening all over Auburn this coming weekend. Dutch Brothers Coffee is going to be donating from their proceeds all day on Sunday. And they had all the salons, or a lot of the salons in Auburn have an event going where they're donating a lot of their proceeds directly to this fund. So that is one place you can donate. Another is the Colfax Firefighters Association. This one is pretty amazing. Our firefighters have opened a bank account to take funds to go directly to those who have lost their houses. And it hasn't been doing that well, right? Up until now, it needs publicity. So we're going to do our best to get it out there. All of these are on the Colfax Chamber website. So if you go to our website and you click on River Fire Resources, all of these organizations are there, and there's information and links on how you can donate. Another one is the River Fire Donation Hub, which was started by some of our community members who saw the need for uniting individual efforts with just individual donations. So that link is also on our website. And then doTERRA has pledged 72-hour relief hygiene kits that are also available, and that information is also on our website. So that's a lot. There's a lot going on. Our feeling as a chamber is that we need to support the community where the community is at. And it doesn't seem like they're really in the mood to party and have mixers and ribbon cuttings right now. So that's why we've done the postponement. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much,
All right.
Sally.
Thanks for having me.
Organizing that and bringing all those other organizations to light.
You bet.
You guys are doing awesome. Thank you. Doesn't look like we have any other agency representatives tonight. So we have no presentations, no public hearing. Move on to the consent calendar. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'd like to pull item 6A.
Item 6A. All right.
And I'll make a motion to approve the other items.
Okay, so I will second.
Motion.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Great. Let's talk about item 6A.
Okay, so in the minutes for item 6A, I'd like to get some change to the wording here because it doesn't accurately reflect what we talked about. So if I go to page 5 of the package here, it says in here, council member to ask questions, blah, blah, blah. And we asked for a number of changes, including the one that was mentioned here. I'd like this amended to include a number of changes that you can get onto the audio recording of the council meeting. And then when we voted to approve this, it was with those changes in the package. And it doesn't say that in here. It just says as revised. So I'd like that to change to including the changes that were discussed. Okay. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve item 6A as I just discussed.
Wes, you got those changes?
Yes, we have the changes. Staff will make those changes, notes in there if council wishes to approve the minutes with the requested approval.
Thank you. All right, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Perfect. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item 7, public comment. If you have a Facebook comment, please mark it as public comment so we can distinguish from just for your chatter. And would anybody in the audience like to have public comment? All right. Any Zoom or public Facebook? Nope. All right. And
Item 8.
yeah, we'll go ahead and move on to item 8. Just want to give it another second, make sure nobody chimed in. Okay, council and staff reports, committee reports. Arnie?
Hello. So what I have to report today is on 8/23, we actually got a letter approved and sent to President Biden, which was approved yesterday, which released some funds. The MAFA was the one that spearheaded that. And then it had to go to the state to get Alex Padilla and then Dianne Feinstein's signature on it. And then the president did sign it. So we'll see what happens with that. That's funding. It's funding, basically FEMA was approved. And that's all I got.
Fire,
Um,
for the river fire.
for specifically, yes, not just the river fire, though, other ones. So we got to kind of, you know, watch it. Watch it.
Our
Thank
part.
you.
All right. Yep.
Other than probably, I don't know, between Mary and I, we probably have had 1,000 phone calls, text messages and all about different aspects of the fires and trying to get people pointed in the right place for where they can get help, who they can talk to. Also want to mention there is a second food bank in the area that's open every Thursday, 10 to 12. That's in Alta at Sierra First Baptist. Not only do they have produce and groceries, but they also have meats and other stuff there. So just for people that are hurting, especially at this time, if you don't mind driving another 12.6 miles, there's another source available every Thursday.
And I just, so I missed that. Placer Food Bank is actually coming up every week now instead of once a month. It's every Tuesday from, I want to say 9 until 1. I think that's what it is. But anyway, same place, Sierra Vista Community Center on Tuesdays to come and get water and food. Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
I just wanted to mention that tomorrow night is our Fire Safe Council meeting. It'll be here at the City Hall at 6 p.m. Anybody wants to join, get some good information. We should have more information about resources for the river fire and some more updates from what's been going on. All right, Wes?
I just wanted to point out to the public in the audience here that the Placer County Water Agency just put out this magazine, their annual magazine, and it's got some great information on fire suppression, land management for fires and stuff. There's plenty of these available at City Hall if anybody wants one. And if we run out, we can definitely get more. I think we got an in and a source to get some more up here. With that, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 9, council business. Item 9A, Wes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's been on everybody's mind that, with the river fire and the issues that we've had, Placer County experienced a mandatory evacuation order from the river fire, which Colfax was included in the mandatory evacuation order. That evacuation was from August 4th to the 6th. It was basically all the land that is west of the railroad tracks.
Yep. In the city of Colfax.
Within the city limit.
Yep.
The mandatory evacuation order forced families to leave their homes and seek shelter elsewhere. Placer County did provide an emergency evacuation shelter, which had restrictions on housing animals. You had to take your animals to was animal control, so you had to be separated from them. There were other issues. I mean, there were families that I've heard that had COVID, didn't really want to go to the shelters or were fearful that if they went to the shelter that they would possibly, that was problematic. So with the mandatory evacuation, a lot of the residents went to lodging, which put a financial hardship on them. So, but because we didn't have a council meeting for a while, I took with my authority under Colfax Municipal Code, Chapter 2.6, we implemented the River Fire Emergency Lodging Reimbursement Fund program to address the financial hardships of the city residents that were forced to evacuate. The program was funded up to $10,000, which is within the city manager's signatory authority. The emergency program is effective until 8/31. And the program consists of, for residents within the red mandatory evacuation area, and your property is within the city limits. You incurred a temporary shelter lodging experience during the evacuation period from August 4th to the 6th. So what we ask from you at that point is we want verification of the expenses, the receipts provide to us. We'll do up to $500 maximum benefit per household. And at this point, unless council chooses to increase the amount. The program limit is not to exceed. Right now, staff is actually looking for council to kind of ratify the program that the city manager and make any amended changes you'd like to. I can tell you to date, we've had 4 applications for just under 2,000 funding.
Okay, can I just restate what I think you said? So this applies to residents of the city of Colfax. So if your property is outside the city, we don't have jurisdiction to do something there, right? And if you incurred an expense during those 3 days of the mandatory evacuation, if they bring the receipts into City Hall, they can get up to $500 reimbursed.
Yeah, I think they can actually apply on the city website. There's a field they complete, and to be clear, they had to be in the mandatory evacuation area. It's
Right.
not just residents.
Right. Okay. And is that just lodging, or is that lodging and food?
At the time, we only did lodging. Council, of course, can expand that if they'd like to.
Okay. What's that? Yeah. So I'd like to make a motion then on this, that we authorize the amount as described here up to $20,000. So that way, in case we go a little bit over it, there's at least a safety factor in there. And that it includes lodging and purchased meals. So if somebody went out to buy food at a restaurant because they had no other place to go, right? So at least covers the food component of this, right?
Councilmember Fatula, are you looking to increase the maximum amount benefit per household, or is just leave it at the?
I think 500 is probably a good starting point for now. And if we have an exception to that, we can bring it up at a future council meeting and say there's an additional request. Right?
Motion.
Okay, and then I just have a quick question. Now, if a council member was evacuated out, they cannot apply for that, correct?
I believe that is correct.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Council members are not eligible.
I said you're correct.
Oh, there you are. There's an empty chair there.
I'm here.
Wonderful, wonderful. So with that being said, I move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Opposed? Abstained? Perfect. All right. Now, item 10, you go to the order. Marnie, you got anything for good of the order?
I think that I'll save my good of the order until the next meeting. Thank you.
Just wanted to say thanks again to all the amazing groups out there that are helping to support the river fire survivors. And everybody in the community that stepped up to do so too. We've had so many great individuals reaching out. It's just amazing to see the level of support and compassion that's in our community. All I got. That's anything else? All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Yeah. Second.
I mean, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned. 6:30.